Diablo 4 is, well, not fully dead, I guess, is a positive. I mean, it's getting there. Slowly but surely, Diablo 4 is finding ways to kill itself. And Season 8 is going to be probably the best season we have ever had. But after that, it's going to be sheer disappointment and downscaling. And Season 8 could also accidentally turn out to be the worst season we have had so far, because you need to understand, build diversity in Season 8 is going to go from a skill twig to a single skill string, pretty much, for most classes, because that's just how it's going to be. If you have a channeling ability, congratulations, you have only one build, and that is win to win. If you have anything else, well, you get the point. It's gonna be bad. Oh boy, this could be bad.
Hey folks, this is Riker, and we just had the Campfire chat for Diablo 4 Season 8 post-PTR, with the season launching next Tuesday, April 29th. The Campfire went over some of the balance changes post-PTR, but they also hit upon some other interesting things, new features, answered some philosophy questions, and even addressed the roadmap. And
Philosophy questions, bro. What kind of philosophy questions are these losers gonna answer, considering their philosophical concept of make things harder is, in typical Blizzard fashion, just increase damage, survivability numbers and shit, and say, "Oh, now it's harder. Are you happy?" No, no, I'm not happy. I don't like have to using all my cooldowns just to kill a white mob. Like, Jesus, how did you even assume this is gonna go down?
reassured us of some things. So this video will cover a brief summary and highlights from the Campfire chat. We're not going to go over all the details of Season 8. We've done that in previous videos. You can find them on my website, Riker.com. We're not going to get into all the little granular class balance changes, really just the big tentpole things. So first off, changes from PTR, with Season 8 having a big focus on new bosses and Belial and Supreme Belial, aka Giga Belial. They've really juiced up now the Giga Belial fight. They found that it wasn't as rewarding as it ought to have been. They've both buffed his difficulty and his reward.
Ah, yes, of course. They're gonna nerf the difficulty of this game because, again, Diablo 4 is in this shitty position because they are listening to people who are constantly yelling everything is too hard, make everything drop 10 times more loot. Now we're at the problem where there's too much loot, and that is the real problem. That's why no one wants to play the game, and everything is too easy. There is no end game, and the end game is designed to be farmed like a basic white mob. And that is what's happening with Diablo 4. Okay? There is no fixing this situation.
Rewards. And not just by running the numbers up on his difficulty, they did that, but they also gave him new tricks. That's always the better way of increasing difficulty rather than just, flat out increasing numbers. In general, all the lair bosses have had their numbers refined, their abilities refined. They're going to be a little more interesting. There's going to be less one-shotting. They want to add challenge in a more interesting way, and they said they want to respect our defenses. All the bosses should now feel much more
Surely.
appropriate to their tier of torment when they're introduced, both in terms of difficulty and reward. Also a change, if I'm understanding correctly, bosses now, their drops, half of it will come from their respective boss drop table, and half will be random loot. So it sounds like you can get loot outside of a boss's drop table now by farming a particular boss. Now, boss keys are a huge change in Season 8 going forward. The keys no longer open the boss fight. You can now fight the bosses for free. The keys are to open the reward chest at the end. Every individual player needs to spend their own key.
Oh yeah, right. Look at this. Harbinger of Hate, the Mephisto fight. Yeah, do you want to experience the shitty dog fight again? Yeah, neither do I. No one wants it. This is shit.
So the devs are commenting on how they think this is going to have an interesting effect on the economy. Keys will become much more valuable now. You can't just jump into a party and get free uniques dropping from someone farming a boss over and over. And overall now the boss fights are going to be rarer, but more valuable. So the idea isn't to just chain a boss over and over and over. And it's also good that we can fight the boss without spending a key now, because
people are gonna be so fucking mad about this. Because the whole point of Diablo 4 is to farm a boss over and over and over again like it's a goddamn loot pinata. Because without that, there's literally no point to this game at all. So, yeah, people are gonna love this shit. Not.
because now you can test, am I strong enough to tackle this boss, rather than waste a key realizing I can't fight him and then either have to wait for your friend to come in and help you or you just lose the key. And again, they buffed the boss drops to compensate for us doing fewer of these boss runs. Now, the Season 8 activity is Apparition Incursion. This is supposed to be something fast-paced. It's an activity that's up basically 24/7. It's meant to be simple. It's meant to be a boss rush event where you're just kind of like fighting a chain of bosses, ending with a Belial fight, or a baby Belial fight. Based on PTR feedback they were getting, they wanted to stress that the idea of this event is for it to be mixed in with other activities. It's not meant to take over everything. They set up in Season 7, the headhunts just became the entire game, and that...
What other fucking activities? What are you even talking about? There's no activities in the game. No one wants to do Infernal Tides or whatever the hell they're called. And the season activities were always the primary thing that everyone does. Like, yeah, Season 7 was bullshit, but everything else before that was also equivalently stupid. So, who cares?
That made the game smaller, because from low level to high level, you're just doing these headhunts, and if you're not doing anything else, well, that's not expanding the game, that is shrinking it. So early on in leveling, the incursions are meant...
The company that is known for taking mechanics that exist, making them null and void, and introducing new, simplified, shittier mechanics, is saying, "Oh, we don't want the game smaller." Is this a joke?
Meant to be something that you do to some extent. You at least want to unlock some of your preliminary boss powers. They've also thankfully added extra bonus XP for killing the boss at the end, because from my testing, it really wasn't worth it to do these for leveling. I felt like just ignore this event until endgame. But now that we're getting, some more...
That's not gonna work. Everyone ignores everything, and I have talked about this so many times. The game is literally designed for you to ignore crafting every mechanic in the game until you get to max torment. And then you can start using your materials. Anything before that is a 100% waste.
XP at the end. Hopefully, I guess we'll find out. It is not just like a big waste of time for getting behind on levels. They've also reduced the ash requirement for leveling up your earlier boss powers. And then once you get into Torment difficulty, it's actually going to be doing the lair bosses. That's going to give you a considerable amount of the resource needed to level up your boss powers. So that... At that point, the Apparition Incursions become something that you do seldomly. They're adding a whisper to it, so, when the whisper tells you go do it, that's kind of intended to be the time when you go do the Apparition Incursion, so it's just one part of the cornucopia of activities that you do in the endgame, as opposed to...
Calling Diablo 4's endgame in any sense a cornucopium is kind of fucking stupid.
dominating the endgame. Now, speaking of those boss powers, other feedback we gave was that they were too strong, or they were so strong that they defined your build. Your build basically didn't matter. It was just a delivery mechanism for the boss powers, of which there are 24 in total. And from PTR, they are tuning down the power of these boss powers. They want to strike a balance where they feel impactful and significant, but they don't do all of your damage and your build doesn't matter. So they nerf them. On top of nerfing them, they also nerf the scaling. They used to scale with your Paragon all the way to 300, getting stronger and stronger. Now they cap it at 200. So by Paragon 200, the boss power stops scaling. That is the maximum benefit that you get from Paragon. Also, Andariel's Flaming Skull and Urivar's Bombs, these were two powers that were way overperforming. They've seriously nerfed them. They then went through some class balance changes. For the Barbarian, they kind of want to take things back to weapon is the thing that deals damage, as opposed to weapon spawns thing that deals damage, like a Twister or an Earthquake. To that end, they are buffing Whirlwind.
That's fucking stupid. So, let me get this right. Well, that is the dumbest law. That is the dumbest. This is why Blizzard is a failure. This is why Blizzard sucks at doing what they do. This is why Diablo 4 is dead. Let's analyze this path of logic. Okay, this is not really logic, but let's analyze this logic, right? So you have the Barbarian. The Barbarian has skills. And some of these skills are stronger currently than others. And let's say that is Earthquake. And the devs are there still looking at that and saying like, you know what? The barbarian could hit things with spawn, and that should be what it does. So let's fuck over all of the skills that don't hit with big weapon, and then it's gonna be good. Like, what the hell is that? What the hell is that thinking? Why can't all of the skills that exist on a character be good? Why can't we have that? Why is it season 8 and I still get to complain about this? Why do I still get to bring up the fact that literally, instead of making all skills viable in this game from the beginning of it, we are living in a situation where some skills are only viable with legendary affixes, and without those legendary affixes, the skills are unusable. Why? Why are we still living in this world? And the developers are like, a barbarian bonk things with big sticks is the way to go. Everything that does not do that is bad. Shut up. That is... Diablo 4 deserves to die, okay? I'm just gonna say it outright. Diablo 4 deserves to be shut down.
Since PTR, they're actually nerfing Mighty Throws, overperforming a bit. Druids early game are getting even more.
Oh yeah, because throwing shit is also bad. Only bonking things in melee range is good. Amazing. Great.
More resource gen support. I'm surprised by this. You know, we always complained in the past about Druids struggle the most early game. They've been, you know, gradually over time actually improving the Druids early game. Now they're doing it even more.
Resources are another thing that I have talked extensively in Diablo 3 and Diablo 4. Blizzard constantly does the same thing since Diablo 3. They make a resource that is class specific, and then people complain that that resource is finite. Like, they don't fucking understand what's the idea behind resource generation and resource spending. Granted, I also complain about it because Diablo 3 does it so poorly. You know, resources should be infinite. But that's what they do. People complain resources are not infinite. Diablo 4 devs, Diablo 3 devs push resources to not matter. It's just a bot that every class is designed around, never depleting, never running out of. That's just our world. Literally, that's just how it's designed to be. That's the point of all of this, honestly. It's stupid. It's really stupid that they make it like that.
More for the Necromancer Blood Wave. Season 7 was ridiculously strong. They gutted it on PTR. Now they're bringing it back up a bit. Their goal isn't for it to be gutted. They just don't want it to be the most powerful thing ever. They're also reworking the rework to Bloodlust.
What's the point of saying all of that after you allow the Spiritborn to literally be a hero class for a whole season?
They did on PTR, where they want it to be in a healthy spot between good at AoE and good at single target. For Rogue, Death Trap was looking too good on PTR. They nerfed that, but they really wanted to make a Poison Trap build a thing, so that...
and the second part that Blizzard constantly does, I almost forgot to talk about it, but cooldowns. Blizzard fundamentally doesn't understand cooldowns. They just don't get it. Every single game, Blizzard just makes one primary skill that you constantly spam, and everything surrounding that skill is typically a buff or a defensive skill that you're supposed to have on 100% of the time. And that's everything. Ultis never have cooldowns. Because Blizzard always does this. Ultimates start as something that you can press, but there's never really good time to press it because they fuck up monster placement and, dungeon design that severely. And at some point, people start to complain, well, I can't use my ultimate in a boss battle because it doesn't do enough damage, and I can't really use it too effectively in a normal dungeon because it's just a waste always. And then they nerf the ulti cooldowns to 0. Every class in the game currently has multiple ways to cast ultimates non-stop. They have 0 cooldown. Ultimates are just spammable basic skills at this point. And this happens always, also.
Interesting. For the Sorceress, they are smoothing out the animations for Summon Familiar, so you can summon your 3 familiars a lot faster now and get back into the action. They also completely reworked the Avalanche key passive. It used to just give you a proc on a lucky chance to do something. Now it's just like a strict buff for cold builds. For Spiritborn, it seemed generator builds were still not quite hitting the mark, so they've given an additional buff to the Sepatizonic or whatever staff for those generator builds. And I'm kind of glossing over things, but in general, there's actually a lot of new items and synergies across the classes in Season 8 that are enabling a lot more interesting builds with unique combinations. Like with the Spiritborn, you have something where
this is a bad opinion. Okay, listen. All of the builds in Season 8, which is going to be the reason why this season is the most fun, and potentially could be the reason why people hate the season at the end the most, is because none of your basic skills matter. All of your basic skills are now just, at best, cheap ways to proc ultimate boss skills. That's it. That's the whole game that's going to be. This is why the skill twig doesn't exist and it's now just a line. And at the end of the line, it's just the boss ability you choose to use. And every single thing is just going to be a multiplier for that boss ability. Basic abilities no longer will exist. It's just going to be boss abilities and how you can use them the best. Well, maybe there's going to be some kind of stupid broken build that actually is amazing, but yeah, who cares?
There's going to be a build where, facilitated, I believe this through a new item, where your razor feathers are all over the ground, and as you go pick them up, it causes a whirlwind of fire around you.
This is going to be complete trash and unplayable because no one wants to pick up the feathers. Did you see the fight just there? The fight lasted shorter than picking up the feathers.
Anyway, they released full patch notes for those who want to really dive into it, but they then went over other changes, and probably the most hype thing for me was that they announced that conduit shrines are being removed in Season 8. Gone. Hallelujah. They recognize and finally acknowledge the problem with them that you can't use.
Dude, so I hadn't played Last Epoch in a while, and now I'm obviously playing because reasons. And dude, Last Epoch does such a good job with shrines. Oh my god, they make shrines so fun! Shrines effectively just make you an auto bomb, but that casts some kind of random fucking skill for free. It is so unbelievably fun to get a shrine in Last Epoch. Unlike in Diablo 4, where getting a shrine equals pain and torture. But in Last Epoch, when I ever see a shrine, I'm like, hell yeah, baby! Let me summon 50 lizards. Sure, why not? Well, let's get a rain of gold. Let's get this. Let's get that. Let's get a buff that makes me crit non-stop and it's feelable because, unlike Diablo 4, other games actually crit matters. It's not a default capped thing that you have 100% of because reasons. Oh, man, it's insane, isn't it? Really insane. God, I get so happy when I think about Last Epoch and so fucking depressed, honestly, when I think about Diablo 4. Insane. But I'm still playing Season 8. Maybe I'm gonna play more than 1 hour. And again, if you don't know, I'm not memeing. I showed my Season 7 character that I literally only played 2 hours and then I forgot that Diablo 4 exists, okay? I'm not memeing when I say 1 or 2 hours maximum, okay? Because it's real.
User build for 15 seconds, and this is not fun. And they're going to rework them and bring them back in some form in the future, but for now they're just gone. And I think this is great. Very happy about this. Again, Diablo 3 has a great conduit shrine. I think it should just be based on the Diablo 3 conduit shrine. They also said the Ancestral Whisper Cache that was introduced in Season 7, they're keeping that. That's going to stay in the game in Season 8. That's great. The Obol Gambler, they said they, quote, buffed the crap out of him. If you spend enough obols to buy up an entire inventory full of items, it should be mostly legendaries, and you're probably going to have at least one, if not multiple, ancestrals. Now, relative to PTR, leveling glyphs is going to be easier. So one concern people had with the entire rescaling of the pit were now like...
Again, obols were a kind of fun mechanic that you did like once every, I don't know, 10 hours because you got enough of them and you went to gamble and was like, oh, maybe I get something good now. And again, in typical Diablo 4 fashion, they just make it irrelevant. It's just one more thing that you are forced to do as a chore, and that's kind of it. It sucks.
Pit 100 is going to be so much more challenging than it used to be. Was much fewer people are going to be reaching anywhere close to pit 100. So in that case,
Don't care,
how do you
didn't
level your
ask.
glyphs anymore to level 100? Well, now it's going to be much more forgiving. You can level glyphs much more easily. You can be 50 levels behind. So you just need to do a pit level 50 to get your gems, your glyphs rather, up to level rank 100. And one thing that they wanted to stress was that PTR isn't.
Wait, that's good because no one likes leveling glyphs. Elon Musk literally pays Asian slave labor to do it for him. Holy, this is like an Elon Musk buff.
And it for testing. Stuff that they're putting up there isn't always this is what we want to do, but it's this is what we want to test. And they like to take big swings on PTR. And this is we saw this all the way back from the D3 days. They'll deliberately overtune things or maybe undertune depending on what the circumstance is, because like testing a 10% buff, you don't get a lot of feedback, but you know, testing something that has a significant change, well then you can get feedback, and then you know to better be able to tune between kind of the different extremes of the current state and the much more significant state. So a lot of
That's a great example, Riker. Thank you. Thank you very much. If only this ever actually happened and was beneficial to us players, then I would believe its existence. Okay, let's skip that.
Then they went over season journey changes. First off, Ash, taken out of the battle pass now. Thank goodness, it never should have been there to begin with. Now it's going to be in the season journey. That makes the season journey itself now much more rewarding and
wait, that actually makes this worth doing. Holy shit.
Worth pursuing. It would happen pretty often that I'm streaming, we're like a couple weeks into the season, and people are like, oh, Riker, you haven't finished your season journey? And I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Like, why would I do it? It doesn't matter.
True.
But those ashes, yeah, those are worth going out of your way for. They also explained the new reliquary system that is basically replacing battle passes, or it's the
What the hell is this?
battle pass 2.0.
I mean, it looks better. It definitely looks better. Not that I'm gonna buy this shit, but it looks better.
So historically with the battle pass, right, you just progress along a track, it keeps going, and you unlock reward after reward after reward. With reliquaries, you're being given much more control over what rewards you unlock and when. Each battle pass will contain multiple reliquaries. There's the free one, there's paid ones. Whenever you're killing monsters or completing quests, you are gaining something called favor. Favor is used to cash in those cosmetic rewards. You can hold up to 99 favor. At that point, you stop getting new favor, you have to spend it. But this also means that you can carry over up to 99 favor to a new season. So let's say you finish unlocking everything, then in preparation for the next season, you can just farm up another 99 favor, and then when the next season launches, instantly buy 99.
Oh, this is not gonna last even. Dude, I don't know if this even is gonna last. Because this is what's gonna happen. People are maybe gonna buy the mount, and then people are gonna buy the platinum. And that is going to make a lot of people just farm up excessive amount of platinum over multiple seasons and never need to spend money on this shitty shop. Yeah. Blizzard is either going to remove these tokens from here in a season or two, or they're going to understand instantaneously that people are cashing in exactly this first and not giving a shit about anything else, that this is a problem, and then remove it while the season's not even ended. Absolutely 100% probability.
Over up to 99 favor to a new season. So let's say you finish unlocking everything, then in preparation for the next season, you can just farm up another.
By the way, it's just literally a blue fucking horse. It's literally just a low pixel, bad definition blue horse. Because why not at this point? I mean, they're gonna eat the slop anyway.
Then in preparation for the next season, you can just farm up another 99 favor, and then when the next season launches, instantly buy 99 favor worth of stuff. That's really good. Also, within every reliquary, there's one bonus reward that you get for unlocking all the other things. And that bonus reward does not cost favor, but you only get it after you've unlocked all the other things. And if you fully
there's the pay to win. There we go.
Complete every reliquary, you're rewarded with a complete cosmetic armor set. Also, this
there you go. That's your incentive to whale.
Transfer to reliquary.
Admittedly, this is a better incentive to whale than they previously had. Again, Diablo 4, I always thought just has a battle pass because everyone has a battle pass. It's completely stupid. The way that they did it, and no one liked it. Again, companies think that just having a battle pass means they're going to get money. True, technically, true. But, I mean, you can get a lot more money if your battle pass is actually useful. And at this point, considering your player base is literally retarded, and they don't care about anything, because unironically, it is the meme about the guy who works 5 jobs, has 3 wives, 7 children, 3 stepchildren, and 4 bastards running around Westeros, and he only has 3.5 milliseconds a day to play a game. And this is unironically now the legitimate people who play Diablo 4. Not that that's bad, by the way, if you feel like it. Again, my opinion on Diablo 4 is, hey, if you're bored and you decide to play it, but don't defend this game for being a masterpiece. It's a bunch of fucking garbage anyway. So, don't. If you want to play it, play it. I play Diablo 4 when I'm bored. Haven't played it in literally since season 7. but you get the point. There are passes for this.
Reliquaries allows them to have events in the future that also add new reliquaries that are not part of the.
Oh, look at that. That's the Berserk stuff. Wow. Look at that. You can be Griffith. That looks agendered and those hips don't lie. What the fuck is this? Oh no, all of this looks so gay and femboy. Oh no. Anyway, that was Riker. 10 out of 10. Diablo 4. Again, just shut it down. Just shut it down. I'm done with it. Bye.